The university votes are in, and we are joined by the SGA president-elect. He is a junior communication student here at Edinboro University and has been involved with SGA for 3 years. He is a founding brother of Edinboro University's organization Alpha Kappa Psi. He is also a delegate for the Model United Nations, and you may have seen or heard him play the bagpipes in the Edinboro University Pipes and Drums. Please welcome to Edinboro Television, William Lee Galt IV. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome, Leslie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So let's start off with some of the goals that you would like to bring to SGA involving the relationship with clubs and organizations on campus. There's kind of been a rough patch with the organizations in the past, but what are some of the goals that you like to bring and help smooth things over with them?
All right, so I definitely agree that there's been, we've had a rough past between SGA and our clubs and organizations, and the first thing I want to do is just acknowledge that is the way it is. We are in a hard time right now, and I think if I can acknowledge that and my organization can acknowledge that, and the students can too, that's the basis of a foundation to improve it. First step is admitting that you have a problem. So the most obvious place to start is at the mandatory clubs and organizations meetings. Right now, they're dry and boring and nobody wants to go. Maybe that's due in part to the fact that everybody's busy, but I think it's because the SGA, we haven't put enough into them to make them relevant to the clubs and organizations. We give them the information they need and send them on their way, but that's it. I'd like to see actual input from clubs and organizations there, and then I would like to see the SGA take that input and actually implement it, if, where applicable, and make those organizational meetings something that you don't dread going to once a month or a few times a semester, whatever the frequency is. Outside of that, we just have to make every interaction we have with a club or organization good. You'll have these relationships develop primarily through like budget requests, and if we don't do good there, then if that's the only connection they have to the SGA and it's a bad connection, they're not gonna reach out next time, and that hurts the whole university when the clubs aren't utilizing SGA as a resource like they should.
And would you willingly go to a meeting that organization has on a separate day to see what they're doing and figure out a way of how SGA can incorporate themselves into that organization?
That's something that we've actually considered doing. The one problem that the SGA has is that there is 134 clubs and organizations, and it's difficult for us to find the manpower to make that happen. And we certainly don't want to show favoritism to bigger clubs or smaller clubs or this club or that. We do need to work out something to meet the clubs on their ground, because especially if it's a club like Edinboro Television, where you have a studio like this and needs that are different, we should meet you here on your turf and talk to you so you can really show us what's good and what's bad and where SGA can help. And I think there's a lot of clubs in that situation that SGA could benefit from meeting them where they meet and talking to them there.
Okay, that's understandable. And SGA is more known on campus for their budget and their business purposes. What are your plans on making SGA a more comfortable environment for organizations to just come and have a fun time and be more interactive with you?
Well, the best way we could do that is we're always going to keep SGA professional. That's a standard I will hold my administration to and our Congress because of it. But we have to make even our business interactions not necessarily fun, but again, something that you don't dread. I think going into finance committee should always be a little bit intimidating because it's a big thing to do, but you shouldn't be scared or afraid that the SGA is going to stop you or try to hold you back. So if we can make our business interactions a little bit more fun and exciting, then I think we can change a lot. But I don't know if everybody knows this or if anybody knows this, but the SGA recently remodeled its office. And I know I want that to be a place where people can just come and hang out. And it shouldn't be awkward, oh, I'm not a Congress member, I can't go into their office, or I shouldn't. If you want to just go hang out in the SGA office, I totally encourage that. If you want to just go see who's on their office hours and have a conversation with any one of my executive board, I would encourage that as well. That's definitely somewhere to start, and I think another place is in the programs that the SGA hosts. We need to host more fun programs, more programs that engage the executive board and the Congress with our constituents, the students of Edinboro and the community. We do some of that, especially with the community. We do events like the big event where we take all sorts of students and we put them out of the community to give back and say thank you, but I don't think we do that enough for our students. So you see SGA as a group of students rather than just the tyrannical leader.
Are there any ideas that you and Congress would like to implement whenever you're sworn in?
I have a lot of ideas, and the premise behind that is during my campaign I talked to all sorts of groups, all sorts of clubs and organizations, and I heard what they had to say, and I certainly haven't forgotten. Some things are easier to implement than others, but as far as specifics, the first thing I want to focus on is orientation in our next freshman class, because I think if we can get them excited and some school spirit, to be a fighting Scot, I think we'll see a lot of change in Edinboro after 4 years of doing that. It could be a whole new university, and that's something I know I'm personally excited to do. But as for our current students, I want to create more opportunity for them. Edinboro has given me so much because I was driven to find it. I was driven to find those opportunities, and I had an amazing support group that would help me do that. I don't believe every student will be so lucky as to have the same people driving them that I did. So we need to make the opportunity that we have more readily available to the students that don't necessarily have an awesome group of friends pushing them forward all the time. How do we do that? That's a much harder question, and a question that I'm looking for answers to.
So when you are declared SGA president, what do you wish your first order of business to be?
Oh, man. So I already mentioned orientation. I was an orientation leader for 2 years. I don't think I'm going to do it this year because I have the position that I do now as student body president. The first thing I want to do is get our freshman class excited to be here. I'm going to stay up here all summer. I'm going to dedicate my whole summer to working for the SGA and make appearances at every single orientation day or new student registration day to let these students know that we're happy to have them. We're excited that they're fighting Scots now. And yeah, I'll walk around in my kilt with my bagpipe all day and just let them know that we're happy that they're here and that they found a family at Edinboro.
Well, we wish Lee the best of luck in his new endeavors as president of the Student Government Association. Failure. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, we wish Lee the best of luck in his new endeavors as president of the Student Government Association, and we hope to see him back on the ETV set soon.